What's going on, guys? Today, I want to talk about kind of why, uh, not why we're in this hobby, but a side effect, if you will, for collecting knives and watches. Okay. And I've got some examples here. And I think I was talking to a buddy just the other day who I bought this Damasteel Hellraiser from. I sold him a Bag Knives glimpse, one that he had been looking at 3 or 4 years ago. And because when somebody else had it, and then I ended up buying it, and then I was turning around to sell it, and he reached out and said, "Yeah, I'll take it because I've been looking at that for years." Okay, cool. It's made a connection between him and I now. And he told me the other day that, he's going through some stuff with life and whatnot. So he is selling some knives. Um, and he told me that that glimpse is one that he's never going to sell because of the connection that that knife has with me and the friendship that he and I have built over the years. Not just in buying and selling some knives together, but I genuinely, we genuinely just chat and text and, whatnot about our days and, not every day or anything like that, but we've built a friendship that's beyond just buying and selling a couple of knives. So it got me thinking about the whole community and yeah, that's really what it's about. It's about the relationships and the friendships that are built in the community. So this Hellraiser, and everybody knows that I am a super huge fan of the Hellraiser model. This was my very first one. I've said it before. I'll say it every time. I watched Jim Skelton's video a few years ago when these first came out. I paused the video, bought this knife, and then went back and finished the video. And now I've got several of them, right? I mean, yeah, I've got a problem, okay? But this particular one that came from my friend is kind of like that glimpse. It's just a symbol of our friendship, and it just means something. So when I look at this knife or I carry this knife, it's not just a knife. It also reminds me of a person, which then reminds me of Ed, the owner of Red Horse Knife Works and all that. So it just kind of puts us together. Okay. And I'm sure I could go through almost every knife I have with a story, right? And I think that's what's great about it. Another one that has a story is the grenade tie from Medford Knife and Tool. And this is one that 13 of us, or 12 of us, sorry, get confused sometimes. We met at the first Medford Centurion event. There was 12 of us there, the OG 12. And we've bonded. That was 3, maybe 4 years ago. And we went to Greg and said, "Hey, would you mind making these for our special group?" And it took a little bit convincing and, whatnot. Like there was, it wasn't just a, "Sure, we'll make them and here you go." But this is a symbol of that group of 12 guys. Now, some of the guys have sold them. I have sold some other Medfords. I'm not going to lie. Yeah, I sold a bunch of them. My tastes changed. Honestly, I was looking to buy a luxury watch. So I sold some Medfords to help pay for a luxury watch. Okay. But this is a symbol of the OG12 that I'm just grateful for. And talking about watches. So I did sell some Medfords and I bought a Rolex, this Air King, from a guy who's now become a good friend, Bruce Williams. He sold me his watch and made me a good deal. And we've become really close friends since then. I've been in Utah. I visited with him and his wife. We went to dinner, and just it's been great. All because I bought a watch, and we've stayed in contact, and we've talked more since then. And it's just how the community works. And I think it's the things that bring us together, but it's the relationships that keep us in the hobby. If that makes sense. This knife here, Beg Knives Bodega. I have several bodegas. They're all, not all of them are special. This one's special. I got it from Joel. I literally told him a year prior to getting it, hey, if you ever sell that, let me know. And every once in a while, I would, he would post it on Facebook or whatever, and I'd comment, hey, I'm still interested or whatever. And one day he reached out and said, hey, I'm going to sell it. I literally think this was my very first Todd Beg knife. Right? Go beg or go home, I guess. And I've since then went from this one to, I think I had 15 or 16 Beg knives at one time. And then I've since gone down. But it's something that I'm always going to remember. Now, I'm not going to say that none of these are ever going to be sold. I try very hard never to say never, because I've seen too many people say, oh, I'm never going to sell this. I'm never going to sell it. They do videos about how they're never going to sell it. And then all of a sudden they sell it. I don't want to be that guy. I try to be very stand up, very transparent, and very honest with everybody. So I don't say that, and I don't judge people that do say that, but there's a story behind most of my stuff as to why I like it. Same thing with watches. This watch was a collaboration between myself, as far as I funded it, but Random Rob and Loomshot. And as I got to know Random Rob, and we've been now good friends for a number of years, gone to some different watch events with him, and we chat all the time, and just a genuinely good friend of mine now. And as is Loomshot. And in talking with Loomshot over the course of this build and whatnot, comes to find out that Loomshot was a knife guy before he was a watch guy. So that was very neat. And we have that bond in common. Okay. TJ Fisher, one of the first 3 King Kamehamehas that he made. And I helped him launch his Cobra line, kind of his production-ish version, right? Not a full custom. I mean, it's a custom, but it was a pre-order thing. And, you can go look at my TJ Fisher playlist and you'll see about that. I don't know that I helped him launch it. I advertised it when he decided to do a mass order of them type of thing. And in talking with him on the phone about it and whatnot, it just created a bond. So that knife, the Cobra, created a bond between TJ and I ended up buying the first King Kamehameha that he had. Well, it was one of the 3. He made a prototype, and then he made 3 more, the 3 Kings. And that's not to say I'm never going to sell any of these, but I likely will not sell these ones because they have such a meaning to me. So, do you guys have things like that? Do you think about it in that way? Or are these just trinkets? I mean, these are just trinkets. And if I fell on hard times and I lost my job or I had medical things or, whatever, these are just knives. If I sold these here on the table, I would still have relationships with my friend here, with Beg Knives, with TJ Fisher, with Greg Medford and the OG12, with Bruce, with Eric, with Rob. I'd still have those same relationships. It wouldn't change anything. But these are just, they resemble and remind me of those connections when I throw them in my pocket. And last but not least is the Phil Harvey War Crime. Now, this is just the most recent knife that I have from Phil Harvey, Where we really built our relationship, I think, was when I bought the Peacemaker. And when I did the Gladius video. I bought the Gladius used from a friend who, again, is still a very good friend of mine that we chat a lot. But I had questions about the Gladius and I had questions about the Peacemaker. And Phil's over in the UK, we messaged back and forth for quite a while when I did the Peacemaker video. And I really got to know Phil and his process and things like that. And so the Peacemaker is really the one that kind of solidified he and I's relationship, if you will. So again, I know these are just trinkets, right? These are just things, but it's the things that bring us together. Much like a relationship in the real world. When you meet somebody in, a dating type or romantic relationship, initially there's some physical attraction that you have with that other person. You find them cute, handsome, sexy, whatever, much like these knives, right? We find it visually appeals to us, whether it's a knife or a watch, because if it didn't visually appeal to you, you wouldn't buy it, right? I mean, if there was no visual appeal, then what's the point in buying it? But then it's the owner, it's the maker, it's the person you bought it from. You get to know them sometimes, not always. Sometimes you just buy a knife and you move on. Other times you bond with it and with the person. And these are just, again, reminders of those relationships. And really, that's what I am in this hobby or this knife community, watch community, EDC community. It's really about the people and the friendships that I've built. And, nobody's perfect. We all make a mistake or do something or say something dumb, but it's still about relationships and building each other up and being there for the fellow knife watch enthusiast. There's been many times where I've bought things from people because they were going through a rough patch and they needed to sell something. That's the kind of guy I am. And I just wanted to talk about the fundamental core of the community is really helping out our fellow enthusiasts. That's why I'm here. I like to show the knives and show everybody what the options are out there in the knife community. But really deep down, I like to do good things and help out other channels, other people. It's just kind of what I do. And I was just reminded when I was talking to the previous owner of this one, and when he had said that he was never going to sell the Glimpse that I sold him, it just was really touching to me and it brought out some emotions. And I felt like I needed to do a video on the good aspects of the community. A lot of times there's just so much drama and BS and scammers and, people doing this or doing that. We just need to all get along. We're all just fans of certain things. And we shouldn't talk down about other people because they're in a different price bracket than us, whether it's knives or watches. There's affordable knives, there's affordable watches, there's custom and expensive knives, and there's custom and expensive watches. We're all equal and we all just love the hobby and the community. So I don't know, for what it's worth, let's just be nice and get along and thrive in the community together and not beat people down. And just remember that it's the knife that brings us together, but it's the relationship that keeps us in the hobby. If that makes sense. Let me know down below if any of this made sense or if I just rambled incoherently. But yeah, I wanted to show some of these knives that I haven't shown in a little while. And I just wanted to talk about the relationships that I built in the community. And I've built more than just these relationships. Okay. a lot of deep relationships and very good, what I would consider lifelong friends, because I bought or sold a knife to them. It's true. I mean, it's crazy. So there you go, guys. Just a little bit of a ramble this morning. Let me know your thoughts down below. I would greatly, greatly appreciate it. So have a fantastic day, and please come back tomorrow because there's more excitement in store. Thanks, guys.